Hello, and salutations, my friends. Today, I'll be presenting you all with my review of Pacific Drive, and this game was developed by Ironwood Studios, along with the publisher of Kepler Interactive on February 22nd, 2024. Pacific Drive is an exploration survival game with a key focus on driving with your trusty station wagon amidst the supernatural dangers of the Olympic Exclusion Zone, a quarantined area filled with anomalies, various dilapidated buildings, and the draw of the hauntingly beautiful Pacific Northwest. Here, your car transcends its role as just a mere vehicle, becoming a companion through the highs and lows of a relaxing yet eerie adventure. The game starts off with you arriving just outside the Olympic Exclusion Zone on a seeming assignment that requires your presence. And as you make your way closer to the walls of the zone, you start encountering various weird events, and eventually you find yourself transported somewhere inside of the zone without your former vehicle or any of the supplies that you may have brought with you. And amidst the chaos, you find the lone station wagon and decide to make it your own in order to escape the zone. And alongside this, you now have a radio connection with the researchers and staff who are observing the things that happen within the zone. But after a short discussion with these new friends that you've made, you've discovered that this station wagon you've now linked yourself with is something known as a remnant, a collection of mysterious objects in a zone that are known to attach themselves to people and slowly drive them insane with obsession over the said item. But with this being one of your few ways to actually escape the zone, you don't really have much of a choice, and now you need to figure out the secrets behind this remnant and navigate the anomalous traits of the exclusion zone and make an attempt to find your way back to normalcy. And just a bit of my own personal thoughts on the story, I'd say that it could have been fleshed out a bit more, and much of its charm lies in not knowing what's coming next, and the narrative leans heavily on mystery, atmosphere, and subtle environmental cues. And the world building and sense of unease are compelling, and the game thrives in its ability to make you feel both curious and cautious at every turn. And I'd love to say more, but due to the nature of how the story unfolds and the appeal of the game, I think it's better to leave it up to you to discover. But going into the gameplay, I'd say that when looking at Pacific Drive, driving is, well, obviously the game's central mechanic, and it's essentially its entire gameplay. Every task in the game is centered around your station wagon, as it acts as your lifeline in this new world that you found yourself in. And your relationship with your ride is critical, as it will be your ticket to survival and your escape plan from the exclusion zone. And throughout the game, you'll split your time between two primary locations, Oppie's Garage and the exclusion zone routes. Oppie's Garage acts as your sanctuary, and it provides you a safe space to repair your car, refill its gas tank, recharge its battery, heal yourself, store valuable items collected during your runs, and craft upgrades to improve your chances of survival. And this sanctuary provides a safe port in a dangerous sea, and knowing how to use it to your advantage is a key to your success. The exclusion zone routes, on the other hand, they're where the real challenges unfold, as these paths are filled with anomalies to confront and resources to scavenge, both of which are vital for maintaining and upgrading your car. And exploring these routes also progresses your ultimate goal of escaping the zone, as you chart new paths and uncover potential exits. And each trip is a test of determination, forcing you to face not only the anomalies, but also severe weather conditions and unstable zones capable of overwhelming you entirely. And the gameplay loop seamlessly ties all of these elements together, where you venture into the zone to explore and collect resources, return to Oppie's Garage to regroup and upgrade, and repeat the process while steadily inching closer to escape. And even with this being fairly simple in structure, this loop is both engaging and deeply rewarding, as the diverse junctions and the encounters with the zone ensure that no two runs feel exactly the same, for the most part. And to go into my personal thoughts on the gameplay, I'd say that the driving in this game feels fantastic. From starting the ignition to switching on the windshield wipers and managing your headlights or brakes, the manual vehicle mechanics add an immersive tactile feel that feels both enjoyable and completely optional for those that really don't care for this. If you don't like it, then the game gives you the option to toggle these features off, and I'd say that flexibility is incredibly appreciated, even if I didn't use it myself. The survival crafting elements, though, are not perfect. Similar to most games of this genre, Pacific Drive has item bloat. You'll tend to hoard everything you get just in case it becomes significant later, and quite often you don't even know what half of the items do. And while this adds to the game's realism of uncertainty and intrigue, I'd say that it sometimes feels more tedious than engaging. However, luckily, once you've stockpiled enough resources, the need to constantly gather everything does taper off. And this reason is partially why I think that while the game was enjoyable, it wasn't the most fun I've ever had, as survival games tend to make me hyper-focused on collecting everything, and this game's unknown aspects of its items and things like that only fueled that tendency, and I found myself exhausting entire areas looking for every scrap, deconstructing cars, and a bunch of other things, which just quickly became overwhelming. But I'd say that once I took a step back and realized that I didn't need everything and embraced the game's rhythm and unpredictability, I was able to enjoy the game a lot more. And unfortunately, due to the way I play games, I'd say I still wasn't able to fully get rid of this desire to collect materials that I felt I would need, as I would feel like I would be wasting my time and my trip if I didn't have my car full of materials by the end of the run. And this was definitely an issue of myself and how I play survival crafting games, but I can see someone who doesn't play the same way enjoying the gameplay way more. However, switching gears to the visual department, I'd say that Pacific Drive captures the haunting beauty of the Pacific Northwest more effectively than any other game I've played. The world is serene, eerie, and soaked in personality, and the landscape feels like a forgotten relic, acting as part nature reserve and part experimental ruin, and it's dotted with this mysterious organization called Arda's strange machines, mysterious structures, and remnants of failed experiments. And the absence of humans and the presence of your sentient car reinforces the idea that you're an intruder in a land that doesn't want you there, but isn't quite trying to push you out. It's all about caution, and the game nails that tone. And on top of that, there's plenty of freedom regarding car customization, from practical upgrades to purely cosmetic modifications. Colors, decals, stickers, and anything else, you can actually customize the station wagon to be your own haunted machine, which further emphasizes the idea that this remnant is slowly making you become more and more obsessed with it, and maybe it will actually drive you to the point of madness. Who knows? As for the sound design, it complements the game's atmosphere perfectly. Ambient noise, crackling anomalies, and environmental cues all add to the tension and immersion. And you'll constantly be looking for audio hints on what's nearby, and many of the anomalies have distinct unsettling audio signatures that warn you of their presence. And when you don't have the audio noise from the anomalies, you'll be wrapped in the ambient sounds of nature and the silence approach of an anomaly. Amidst the ambient sounds of nature and the anomalies, I'd say that there's one standout feature of the game in its sound department, and that would be the in-game car radio. This radio plays a surprisingly diverse mix of music, and it also includes a variety of quirky radio shows, interviews, and odd conversations that add lore or just pure flavor to the experience. For instance, one example of these experiences would be one bizarre segment that featured someone trying and failing to explain how to boil an egg, which honestly gave me a chuckle because it was just so stupid. And even beyond something like this, the voice acting in general is just a strong and distinctive part of the game, giving the few voices you hear a real sense of character and depth. As for achievement hunting, it's still fun, but it's way more tedious than the main game. There are a ton of achievements that require just sheer luck in finding certain entities, a lot of grinding for materials, or just playing in an annoying way that you normally would never want to do. Some of these achievements include driving your car with low or an empty fuel tank the whole time, or driving your car without ever putting it into park. And there's also a lot more annoying achievements too, but those are just a few of them. And honestly, stuff like this is just really annoying and kind of kills some of the fun in some of the runs that you'll need to do. And it also gets repetitive because you'll need to do this after completing the main story, as it's not really practical to do this during the main story. But don't get me wrong, the achievement hunting in this game is definitely doable, but it's just really annoying and it's not the most fun at times. But in the end, Pacific Drive offers a uniquely atmospheric and mechanically engaging experience that blends survival, exploration, and narrative mystery into one chaotic yet captivating ride. Its deep immersion, eerie environments, and reliance on the driving mechanic makes it stand out in the survival genre. And while it stumbles slightly with item bloat, some personal issues I have with the survival crafting gameplay loop, and some annoying achievements, the game's strengths in environmental storytelling, sound design, and player-driven pacing more than make up for these issues. And whether you're in it for the weird anomalies, the satisfying car mechanics, or just the joy of surviving one more run through the zone, I'd say that Pacific Drive is a trip worth taking. And due to these factors, I'll be giving Pacific Drive a 5 out of 5 for casual players and a 4 out of 5 for completionists. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Pacific Drive, and hopefully this video has helped you out in some way. And if you have any further questions or want to share your thoughts on the game, then feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, then liking it would help me out a ton, and I encourage you to subscribe for more content like this and whatever else I cook up. But for now, I'm off, and take care everyone.